Principle 2. Belief, the foundation that sets your financial ceiling. There is a truth most people never dare to face. It is not the market that limits you. It is not the economy. It is not your family, your background, or your circumstances. What truly limits you is the belief you carry with you every single day. Money does not go to the most talented. Money goes to those who believe they deserve it and who behave as if that belief is already true. Belief is not what you say out loud. Belief is what you reveal through your smallest decisions, especially when no one is watching. A person may say they want financial freedom, but when opportunity shows up, they choose safety. That is not laziness. That is a belief operating beneath the surface, a belief that does not allow them to win big. Every person lives under an invisible ceiling. You cannot see it, but you feel it the moment you get close to breaking through. When money starts exceeding what you are used to, you feel uncomfortable. When responsibility grows beyond what you have carried before, you feel anxious. When opportunity becomes larger than your past experience, you feel fear. And in that exact moment, your old beliefs pull you back to familiar ground. Not because you lack ability, but because your brain is programmed to keep you where it feels safe. Safe does not mean wealthy. Safe only means familiar. Most people do not fail. They automatically return to the level of life their beliefs allow. If you believe money is hard to earn, you will always struggle to make it. If you believe money comes only through luck, you will spend your life waiting. If you believe wealth equals greed, you will unconsciously push money away. No one explicitly taught you these beliefs, but you absorbed them early. From family, from society, from phrases repeated over and over. Just earn enough to be safe. Too much money only brings trouble. The rich are never truly happy. Those phrases are not harmless. They are commands. Each repetition seeps deeper into the subconscious. And the subconscious does not judge truth or logic. It only executes. If you believe you are bad with money, you will always find a way to lose it. If you believe you are not born to be wealthy, you will always stop just before the breakthrough. Belief does not need logic. It only needs repetition. That is why two people with the same opportunities, the same starting point, end up with completely different outcomes. One steps forward, the other steps back. No one forces them. They do it unconsciously. Belief operates like a silent boss. It does not shout. It does not give direct orders. It whispers, "This is far enough. Playing it safe is better. Do not stand out." And most people obey. Those who control the game are the ones who dare to question their own beliefs. They do not ask, "Can I do this?" They ask, "Why do I believe I cannot?" That is a dangerous question, because if you sit with it long enough, old beliefs begin to crack. You realize that most of your limits do not come from reality, but from the stories you tell yourself. You think wealthy people are more confident than you. Not exactly. They simply operate with a different belief system. They believe money is a tool. They believe learning changes outcomes. They believe mistakes are the cost of success. Poor-minded people believe mistakes are proof they are not good enough. That is the core difference. Belief determines how you see the world. How you see the world determines how you act. Repeated action determines results. You cannot act beyond your beliefs for long. You may force yourself, you may push temporarily, but eventually you return to familiar ground. That is why many people receive money quickly and lose it just as fast. Not because they are stupid, but because their beliefs were never upgraded. Money arrived faster than belief could handle, so money was pushed away. If you want to change income, you must change belief first. Not with empty affirmations, but by rebuilding the image of who you believe you are. You cannot believe you are disciplined if you break promises to yourself every day. You cannot believe you deserve wealth if you feel guilty earning more than others. New beliefs require evidence, And evidence comes from small, consistent actions. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, self-belief increases slightly. Every time you face difficulty instead of avoiding it, your brain records, "This person can handle hard things." That is how belief is built, not through emotion, but through repeated experience. Wealthy individuals are not born with strong beliefs. They build them deliberately. They choose environments that reinforce belief. They choose information aligned with who they want to become. They distance themselves from voices that pull them back to old versions. Not out of arrogance, but because they understand one thing clearly: belief is easily contaminated. Stay long enough in a limited environment and you start thinking in limits. Hear doubt long enough and you begin doubting yourself. That is why those who control the game protect their beliefs like assets. They do not argue with people at lower levels of awareness. They do not need to be understood. They need results. A strong belief does not require approval from the crowd. It only needs to stand long enough to prove itself. At a higher level, belief is no longer "I can." Belief becomes "This is what I do. This is my standard." No hesitation, no negotiation. You do not negotiate with principles. You live by them. When belief runs deep enough, action becomes automatic. You no longer need motivation to do hard things. You act because this is who you believe you are. And at that point, money becomes a byproduct, not a goal, not a reward, just the natural outcome of the right belief system.
Principle 2. Rebuilding belief when a man becomes his own new limit. Follow, subscribe, and share the channel to gain new knowledge and grow every day. In the early stage, belief operates passively. You believe what is repeated often enough. You act according to what feels familiar. You live inside a safety zone that others unknowingly built for you. But at a higher level, belief is no longer something you have. Belief becomes something you deliberately build and protect. This is the line that separates those who are led from those who control the game. The led ask, "What should I believe?" The controllers ask, "Which belief serves my long-term objective?" The difference is choice. When you realize belief is not absolute truth, but a mental tool, you step into a new level of awareness. At this level, you understand something critical. Not every belief needs to be true. It only needs to be useful. A useful belief is one that drives stronger action, clearer decisions, and higher responsibility. If a belief causes hesitation, excuses, or retreat, then no matter how true it sounds, it is worthless. Strong individuals do not seek beliefs for comfort. They seek beliefs that increase their capacity to endure. That is why the same failure breaks one person and strengthens another. The event is the same. The belief is different. The outcome is different. Belief determines how you interpret reality. A man who believes he is a victim sees every challenge as injustice. A man who believes he is responsible sees the same challenge as a test of competence. Reality does not change. Perspective changes. Life follows. At the level of control, you no longer ask, "Why is this happening to me?" You ask, "What is this training me to become?" That question does not make life easier, it makes you stronger. And strength always has value in every market. Weak belief breeds dependence, dependence on motivation, dependence on circumstances, dependence on validation. Strong belief breeds self-command. You work without inspiration. You keep standards without witnesses. You move forward without certainty. Strong belief does not remove fear. It simply does not allow fear to decide. At lower levels, fear drives the vehicle. At higher levels, fear rides in the passenger seat. You still feel fear, you just do not turn back. To reach this level, you must accept a hard truth. Belief cannot be replaced by positive thinking. Belief only changes when identity changes. You cannot believe you are decisive if you avoid hard decisions. You cannot believe you are a leader if you wait for direction. You cannot believe you deserve wealth if you constantly undervalue yourself. Belief is the shadow of identity. To change belief, you must change how you see yourself. Identity does not change through words, it changes through repeated behavior. Every time you do what is difficult but right, identity upgrades. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, belief strengthens. Every time you hold high standards in silence, your brain records, "This is who we are now." The process is slow, but it is real. Impatient people try to shortcut belief. They chase intense motivation. They chase powerful affirmations. They chase emotional highs. But emotion does not build foundations. It only creates the illusion of progress. Sustainable belief is built on ordinary days. The day you wake up early without recognition. The day you finish the work without supervision. The day you resist temptation without witnesses. Those days never appear online, but they determine the future. At higher levels, people do not chase massive change. They pursue small consistency, because they understand this: belief does not collapse in a day, and it is not built in a day. Belief is like reputation. It takes years to build, but betray yourself often enough, and it disappears. That is why those who control the game are strict with themselves and generous with others. They don't need to prove anything. They only protect standards. High standards create boundaries. Boundaries create respect. Respect creates leverage, and leverage always creates money. At the final level of belief, you no longer ask, "Can I?" That question is dead. You ask, instead, "What is the cost, and am I willing to pay it?" This is the question of adulthood. No illusions, no complaints, only choice. The weak ask, "Is there an easier path?" The strong ask, "Who will this path force me to become?" When the question changes, life changes direction. Belief is no longer motivation. It becomes internal law. No reminders needed, no pushing required. You act because you refuse to live below your own standards. And when a man refuses to live low, the world is forced to adjust. Money, opportunity, people are drawn towards those with rock-solid belief, not because they are lucky, but because they are stable. Internal stability creates trust. Trust creates value. Value creates money. At this point, you are no longer chasing money. You become an environment that money wants to stay. But remember this: belief is not something you achieve and keep forever. It requires maintenance. The moment you begin to compromise, lower standards, or say just this once, belief cracks. Small cracks repeated often enough collapse entire systems. That is why high-level individuals are allergic to ease, not because they are rigid, but because they understand the cost. Strong belief does not need to be spoken. It shows in how you enter a room, how you say no, how you remain silent. Weak belief needs explanation. Strong belief does not. And finally, understand this: you don't earn money with your hands. You don't earn money with your intellect. You earn money with the man you believe yourself to be. When that man changes, everything else follows. Belief does not create money immediately. It creates the man capable of creating money. And that is the highest return investment you will ever make. Subscribe and follow the channel for daily self-improvement and valuable knowledge.